Ilyas Zahir. Today, I'm going to be going through my presentation about how Islam spread through North Africa. Let's begin. So, I have my table of context here. We have the historical spread of Islam in North Africa. We're going to be looking at the introduction to the spread of Islam. We're just going to be talking about the basics of Islam. We're going to talk about the mechanisms of expansion, how exactly it spread. And then we're going to look at the key events in the 7th century, important things that happened during this time period that really had an impact. We're going to look at it, important figures that had contributed a lot to the spread. And then we're going to look at cultural exchange and modern impacts. So let's begin. Okay, starting off with the origins of Islam. So um, with this, we know that Islam originated in Mecca, specifically Arabia in 610 CE. This is when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ received his first revelation from the angel Gabriel. Um, we know that at its core, Islam is rooted in the belief in one God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Quran as the ultimate spiritual guide. Muhammad ﷺ is considered the final prophet in a long line of messengers, making his teachings central to the Islamic faith. After Muhammad ﷺ died in 632 CE, Islam really began to expand rapidly beyond Arabia. So military campaigns and trades were the two key drivers of this expansion. And then we're going to look at that topic soon, discuss that. So next topic I want to talk about is the Umayyad expansion, the Umayyad and Caliphate and North Africa. So the conquest of North Africa beginning in 647 CE. This was a significant phase in the expansion of Islam. These military campaigns extended out Islamic influence to regions, more specifically in areas such as Libya and Tunisia, Algeria, and beyond. Some key leaders that actually partake in this was the Uqba ibn Nafi. This leader, he played a crucial role in these efforts. Uqba led troops into Maghrib, reaching as far as the Atlantic coast. His leadership not only secured territory, but also laid the foundation for the region's Islamic governance, which I do believe we talked about a little bit about him during class at one point early in the semester. Next thing, the Kariun. This is a city that is very, very important. So Kariun became a hub of Islamic scholarship and religious practices and cultural fostering for intellectual and spiritual growth for centuries to come. So this place was like the first hub that was established that really spread Islam outwards. Um, and then our last point is the Umayyad conquest. So they also facilitated a blending of cultures while local populations were gradually converting to Islam. Elements of their traditions and customs merged with Islamic practices, creating a really distinctive cultural identity that's only unique to North Africa. The next point that we're going to be talking about are trade routes and cultural exchange. As I mentioned earlier, trade routes are a really big way how Islam spread throughout North Africa. Since North Africa served as a crucial trade hub connecting Europe, the Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa, um, it was a very crucial place that helped in facilitating the exchange of goods and ideas. And so during these trade routes, there were merchants, and these merchants acted as ambassadors. So these Muslim traders would share their Islamic beliefs and practices throughout their interactions with various local communities. And then from there, those communities started picking up Islam. And so once that happens, the blending of beliefs began. So the integration of Islamic teachings with local customs allowed for smoother conversions, fostering a unique cultural synthesis. And then over here we have influence on architecture and artistic evolution. So you can see that in North Africa there was a lot of influence on architecture and the art that was very Islamic heavy. So let's move on to our next slide. Sufism. So we talked about Sufism in class as well, so I'm not going to go over it very long. But Sufism, broken down, is a branch of Islam that focuses on personal experiences of God and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, emphasizing spiritual closeness and internal transformation. So Sufism, they had a lot of missionary efforts too. So they traveled widely in engaging communities through spiritual practices, fostering a deep connection with Islam that transcended more conversion. They had a lot of cultural integration and inclusive practices as well. While doing my research, I actually found it very interesting that there were actually a lot of areas in North Africa that were really resistant to Islam as well. One area that we talked about in class that I love looking at is the Berber tribes in North Africa. Especially as a Moroccan man, I really find it interesting that initially that they actually opposed Islamic rule, but later on they were engaging and they established a more complex relationship. But then now modern day they're more collaborative with Islamic authorities, and then over time, Islam demonstrated remarkable adaptability, so evolving to incorporate local customs, traditions, and cultural integration facilitated among diverse populations, resulting in a unique form of Islam that reflects a blend of local beliefs practices. Once again, this point is just saying that it really created a unique culture in North Africa that can't be found anywhere else. Okay, so the next point I want to talk about is the Fatimid Caliphate. So, the Fatimid Caliphate, in short and summarized, they were founded in the early 10th century. Um, they were emerging as a Shia Ismaili dynasty, and they established a powerful state that extended from North Africa to the Middle East. Culturally, they supported advancements in architecture, arts, and sciences, and they left behind a very big legacy on Islamic culture. Cities like Cairo, for example, which they were founded in, became renowned for their intellectual and spiritual vibrance. For example, establishment of educational institutions, Al Azhar University in Cairo is one of the biggest global centers of Islamic learning to this day. Their integration of Islamic culture into governance shaped the region's identity and left an enduring impact. And we are now going to continue to the next slide. So this slide, I'm talking about Islamic scholarship and education. We're just looking at how the golden era of Islam really uh, had how the discoveries in that era really carried out into North Africa. So establishment of madrasas, which is just schools. So madrasas emerge as influential institutions of higher learning. Here, the students began engaged with Islamic theology, philosophy, and various sciences. Influential scholars started rising up, like Ibn Khaldun. Advancements in mathematics and astronomical discoveries started occurring. A big one is contributions to medicine and whatnot. Cultural exchange. North African centers of learning became hubs of cultural exchange where knowledge flowed between diverse civilizations, enriching both Islamic and Western intellectual traditions. And it just had a very long lasting impact on civilizations in North Africa. Over here, we have modern implications of Islam's spread. So, cultural identity, we have Islam has become a cornerstone for cultural identity in North Africa, significantly influencing language, art, social norms, thereby shaping a district regional charter or character. The political landscape, as well, is a big one. It affects relations among various ethnic and religious groups and contributing to the complexity of regional politics. Kind of number three and number two kind of go hand in hand in each other. Roles of Islamic governance. Most countries that are in North Africa are very not most. All of them are Islamic heavy governance. So, and then they have influence today on human rights and historical context. So, overall, today we talked about the complex spread of Islam. We talked about how it was not uniform, but it involved just military conquest, trades, and cultural exchanges that shaped societies in North Africa. We also talked about the role of the Umayyad and Fatimid Caliphates, how they played their parts. We also looked at the influence of trade routes, which was previously mentioned, but really putting emphasis on this point in particular. We talked about the adaptability of Islam, how its ability to adapt and blend with local customs and traditions was crucial for its acceptance in diverse communities across North Africa. And then we also looked at the significance of Sufism, which played a pivotal role in the conversion process, promoting a more mystical and personal approach to Islam that resonated many with a lot of individuals. And last but not least, we have the enduring legacy that the influence of Islam in North Africa remains evident today, shaping cultural identities and political landscapes across the region. So just modern impacts and whatnot. And that will lead to our conclusion. So thank you very much. I know I kind of flew by that a little bit fast, but I'm trying to stay underneath the 10-minute time minimum time frame, whatever. But yeah, so that'll be all for me. Thank you for listening in. Inshallah, may you have a good winter break, professor, and hopefully I'll see you again sometime. Thank you.